Hello, good evening. I'm Oral Gibbes, and welcome to Oral Gibbes Live. Coming to you live here from World Star Studios at Amsterdam Shopping Center. And my guest this evening is Mr. Raymond Jessurun. How are you doing, sir?
I'm okay. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for accepting the invitation.
For your viewers also, a good evening.
It's good to have you here. And you're the Vice President of the Seniors and Pensioners Association. So how are things going with the seniors? You've all been very quiet these days.
It looks like that we are quiet, but it is a matter of follow the news.
You got all the things you wanted to say you're quiet?
No, follow the news. We have been in the news with our annual meeting that we had with the seniors to address the different issues that were affecting them and what is the status of that. We were in the news with seniors of the French side that were refused to get their old age pensions. We were in the news to address actually the whole healthcare situation of our seniors. So whoever wants to know, they just have to follow the news, and they know that we are on top. We're still on target on these issues. So whatever you want to know tonight, you can ask that. That's why we're here, to enlighten you and the viewers.
Well, I got to ask you, what is top on the seniors' agenda? Say if you had to pick 3 topics, what will it be?
Well, for us, first of all, the poverty pensions should stop. People should get a pension that is above the poverty line that we have here in the Kingdom of the Netherlands. That's number 1. Number 2 is the health care. It's not only the quality of the care that we have been addressing, that we have been complaining about, that we get actually substandard care here in this part of the kingdom. Even when we are being referred abroad, we are not getting the same quality care as in the Netherlands, where this is a human right, that we have to get the highest attainable level of health care in the state. Now, as we are part of state, the Kingdom of the Netherlands, we should get the same quality of care also here in this part of the kingdom. But what we have been seeing addressing these issues is that not even Holland is keeping itself to these international regulations, because even in the best islands, they are violating these rights of these people. And then thirdly, what is an issue for us is that actually, when you look at the participation of seniors, the involvement of seniors in this society, the respect for the seniors in this society, we are being set aside. There's a lot of talking, lip service, to say that we have to respect our seniors, they build our society, but at the end of the day, it is lack of respect. That's what actually we experience. Even though seniors speak out and tell you how it is and how they want it, they're not being listened to, and they are not being supported for them to get their rights. And that part is the next part that we have been challenging for, being a part of the international movement of older persons associations and organizations. I happen to be representing them now for 3-4 years already at the international organizations, so as the United Nations, and where I get the opportunity to speak and to address and illustrate how seniors in this part of the kingdom are being discriminated, and that is some violation of our human rights. And that is exactly what has been addressed last year throughout the countries of the Americas, where for the first time a regional covenant on the rights of older persons to be protected was adopted by the Latin America and the Caribbean countries, the states, and which is setting a norm that even can be adopted now internationally. Now, that protection, it shows you what was lacking, what is lacking. And when we apply those principles and those articles of the Inter-American Covenant for the protection of the rights of older persons, and we look at it here, there's still a lot that the kingdom has to assure. Because why I say the kingdom? In the charter of the kingdom, it's stated that human rights the guarantee for human rights is a kingdom affair. And so, yes, we have a local government, we have local parliamentarians. They can do their part. They even in the Kingdom of the Netherlands, in the kingdom government. But at the end of the day, it's the total kingdom government that's responsible to guarantee that we have equal rights in the kingdom. And so by seeing that internationally we are getting more and more support, more and more, actually you can say, documents that are being adopted and that give us rights, make it clear that we have rights, and we can refer to those rights, and that we could demand those rights. At the moment that a country or a state ratifies that document, now the moral obligation that comes out of it is something that we use, but from the moment that they ratify it, then they have to implement it. And that is where we are. We are trying to get actually both internationally as within the kingdom the attention towards do what you have to do because of the covenants, the international covenants that give us these rights.
So if you look at what you just mentioned, and the section with health care,
yes,
I'm curious when you mention that we don't get the kind of service compared to the Netherlands. Can you elaborate there?
Well, let's put it this way. It's not we told you that we have substandard care here. It was the Inspectorate of Health. What does it mean that you have substandard care? It is below the one that is the standard. Substandard, under the standard. So when we talk about what is the standard, according to our right, it should be the highest attainable level of health care. That is the international standard in our state. The Kingdom of the Netherlands, and it's particularly in the Netherlands, the healthcare situation is one of the best of the world. We are among the top 4. And that is for so many years. But when you look at this side of the kingdom, it's not being implemented, not even in the best. So that is where we see how the apartheid in our kingdom is being implemented. Now, by addressing it, someone has to back us up. Now, who is willing to back us up for us to get our rights? Now, the Seniors Association is one association for sure that constantly, consequently has been addressing this issue. And you know what is the good news? That more and more individuals come to us to get more information, to get better understanding, and hopefully they also will take up the fight. Because we see you will never get your right if you don't stand up and fight. Bob Marley told us, you have to stand up for your right, and you should not give up the fight. So that is where we are. By providing this direction, we know that it is pioneering work, but at the same time we know that we are on the right side of history. Obama became became president of the United States. Who could ever believe that a black man could become a president? It was civil rights movement that brought it about. And so that's where I say you have to start a movement, you have to push the movement. In a movement, you will always have leaders, you have followers, and you have those that try to break up the movement. Now, that is what you will have everywhere. A lot of people are skeptic. They say, you think we will get this equality? You think so? Well, yes. If this happened already in so many other parts of the world, why can't it happen here also in the state that is human rights champion of the world, which is the Kingdom of the Netherlands? It should happen.
But then when you look at St. Martin, you've been at the forefront, very vocal, making sure that the issues, that things that affect the elderly are brought to light. But when you look at a movement, I don't see a movement. I don't see the elderly out there really in the sense of, boy, we're behind this gentleman, or we're behind this association, this we want done. Maybe I'm blind, but I don't see it. And if that movement isn't there, then you don't really get the respect that you really
Actually,
deserve.
let me ask you, What do you want the seniors to do? They have been crying out, and there was no one to listen to. Well, when I heard that cry, I said, well, let's do something about it. And because I was in the labor union movement, and I have that experience in the labor union movement, that when you speak out, because that is right, then you also can organize the people. And that's what we did with the Seniors Association. We have right now over 200 members, and every day we get new members that sign up. They ask me, can I sign up? Yes, why? Here is your paper. The people see that it is a need, that we are affiliated. Every activity that we have, more seniors signing up. The idea behind it is this: united we stand, but divided we will fall. Now, when we bring them all together, then you speak about representation of numbers of people that have united and that are in agreement with what you're saying. So if I tell you that we have 200 members and those members are in agreement with our constitution that we are against any discrimination, then you understand that it is not only the spokesperson, because I happen to be the spokesperson, but it is the whole organization, it's the whole association. The last example that I can give you with this thing of the healthcare is when we had a meeting with SZV. And the management of SZV has been taking the position that actually they can do nothing because it's government giving them the legislation to execute. So they can do nothing about the old age pensions that is too low. They can't do nothing about the healthcare quality to get it at the same level as it is in the Netherlands. And we explain them, wie betaalt, bepaalt. So if you are paying and you are contracting the service, you can demand the quality of the service. That is something that we have been brought up already in the stakeholders meetings.
You also have to pay for quality service. It comes with a price. And
that we have also explained to them. If you tell me that in the Netherlands, it costs you so much to have your health care, and they try to maintain the cost there also. If you maintain the same principles here, because it is a right, to guarantee this right, the Dutch have to support the government here so that everybody can get that right. It's not only those that can afford and that can pay. By the way, those that can afford and that can pay, they go to the US to get that treatment, which is much more expensive at the end of the day. So what we see is that by claiming the guarantee, we are right now in a position that we are claiming from SZV, for instance, that they become, instead of putting the position that we are defending government, we are doing what government tells us, that they really do what they say because we care. If you really care, listen to what we say and apply that what we say. How you do that? And this is the first victory that we had when the seniors of the French side manifested that now they can't take it no longer. This is not fair. They're being working here, paying their premiums, and they're not getting any penny from SZV. The SZV told them, we are going to look into this thing and we are going to advise the minister and parliament to do something about it, to correct the situation. So they heard the voice of these seniors. They heard the Seniors and Pensioners Association, and now they are giving advice. In the last meeting we had last week, they told us that they are giving Minister Lee the advice how to go about this whole issue. Now, we are happy that when we speak out, at least now, because we care, is becoming a care. But we still want to see how they want to care. Are they really going to implement this equality that we are asking for in the Kingdom of the Netherlands? Or are they coming up with the next proposal, which is still discriminatory? Now, we have to give them that time to provide us with that. But we have been asking them, based on the older person's principles that the United Nations had adopted, to involve us in this whole matter of policy preparation, policy execution, so that we can help and that we can be being respected in this respect, in this regards. So this is where we see that you can move, and you see that there is little openings coming up. And we try to develop that so that we can get a structural approach, a structural respect for the seniors.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Jessurun. When I ask you about the organization and so forth, the seniors use a facility for many years. Over 2 years, they had problems with the toilet, overflowing, broken, everything else. It was only fixed when I got involved. And that's what I meant. When you're organized as a body, you don't need an outsider like me to get involved, to get the politicians to move, to get the civil servants to move. And when I speak about seniors and elderly on this island, I speak from experience, speaking with them. You might be a spokesman for them at the front, but I still don't see the kind of organization that will bring political respect to the elderly. That's what I'm not seeing.
Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Respect does not start with the organization. Respect starts with the education that you got. And if there is no respect shown to seniors in this society, then you know who you have to blame. You cannot come to the seniors and tell them, but you have to do something. They are voicing their opinion. They have been working. They have been giving their all. And how are you treating them now?
A misunderstanding. Look, when it comes to respect, we as a society that always basically respect elders. That has changed depending on who you speak with. But I'm speaking about getting things done. There just is no respect for what elderlies think on this island. You can want something, but the politicians don't give a damn. And the reason why, because they don't see a real force, because coming September 26th, when there's elections on St. Martin, the elderlies are going to vote for individuals who are their friends or their family, or someone who gave them 300 or 400 guilders, or someone who smiled nice to them, or someone who walked up there and hugged them up and gave them a kiss. They're not going to go for the person who's going to make sure that the things that are affecting their lives and can turn their lives around, they're not going to vote for that person. And that's what I mean when I say, when you look at this island, how do you get this group of people that's growing, by the way, okay, and growing really fast, to really get the kind of respect they deserve in terms of, you see, power is the ability to get things done, okay? And that's what I want to see. I've been an advocate for the elderly for most of my life, but I want to see power in the hands of the elderly. So when the elderly speak, politicians jump. And then I will say, you know what, gentlemen? Now I'm seeing some kind of organization where the elderly is beginning to make sure that people listen. Right now it's not happening.
Well, the good thing is that you're addressing it and that you're saying it should happen. We are even now in the stage that we say it's not only the elderly have to stand up for the rights. It's also our children and grandchildren, the younger generation.
Right.
So the labor union movement, for instance, must stand up. The good news is that it is with the labor union movement that we got this initiative to look for the assistance of, for instance, the NIBUD, which is this National Institute of Budget Information, to assist us in establishing for St. Martin what are the reference budgets that minimally you need to not to live in poverty. They did it for Bonaire. They're going to do it for Statia, and we want them to do it for here. The typical thing is that it was the government of Bonaire that asked for it. It is the government of Statia that asked for it. But the government in St. Martin, until the day of today, did not ask for it. Now we as civil society, we as Seniors Association, together with the unions and the NGO community through Sunfed, we took the initiative to look for an opportunity to get them here to assist us in establishing what are the minimum reference budgets. Now, if government does not respect the people, we know that long time. That the kingdom government is not respecting the people from St. Martin and from the Dutch Caribbean, we know that a long time. Now, who is taking the bull at the horns? Who will say, enough is enough? Now, Seniors Association, we started to say, this is not right, we should do something about it. And we expect from our parliamentarians that are being elected to represent us, that they stand up. Now, we saw that in the last 5 years, there was a movement that gradually they started to speak a lot now in Parliament about seniors and the pension and livable pension we should get and all of that. But none of them signed already a piece of law that can give us a livable pension. But put it this way, if the Kingdom of the Netherlands is strangulating the government of St. Maarten constantly with a CFT that is telling you that only a skeleton budget I can accept, then there's no meat in the budget. And what we need is the same meat as in the Netherlands for us to get the same rights. We are not getting budgets here for our development. And that is a violation of our human rights.
But budgets are tied into with your income and projected income.
In a state, you can have your budget for that part of the territory. But to guarantee the rights, the state has to supplement the income.
You saying it should subsidize?
They didn't subsidize. That's not subsidy. That is giving you that what is needed for people to have a decent standard of living. That is their human right. And that is what the kingdom government ought to do. But if our own politicians don't claim that right, because they don't want too much interference, when I listen to them, the arguments, they don't want interference from the Dutch is interfering every day.
So then what they should do? What if you can give our parliament, our council of ministers, some advice as to how to get it done, what should they do?
As we tell them, you sent us away to study. You invested in us to get knowledge. Now we come with the knowledge. We show you what is your right. Embrace it. You look for lawyers to defend you when you are being accused. Why don't you look for lawyers to help you so that you can accuse? The Kingdom of the Netherlands is not complying with the international treaties. And this is not me saying it. You can read it on the internet where the international committee.
But maybe our government don't know about it.
No, the government knows it.
Our government here knows
yes, they know it because we report it. And they get it from the kingdom government. Because all that what the United Nations Committee for Social, Economic and Cultural Development has been saying about us, there is even input from St. Maarten in the report that the kingdom has to give. Now that report and the remarks that is being given show for a few times already that the equality had not been observed in the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the equality of rights. So when even those international committees know that something is not right, the Dutch can jump high and low. And the St. Maarten government with them. They can jump high and low. They can even play the politics, as we call it, from the ostrich. You can put your head in the ground. Boy, you're still up there. We still see you. So the thing is, stop playing the fool. You know exactly what we talk about. If you don't believe what we say, look it up. And I can't believe that so many international experts already give us the kudos for what we are doing, the respect for what we are doing. They're even calling us to come to international fora to explain and to present our case and that of the Caribbean and Latin America. So why can't we make use of our own to address what is not right in the kingdom?
But have you all done any calculations to say, well, this is approximately the amount of money, 15, 20, 40 million euros that is required to bring St. Maarten up to the level of the Netherlands?
Well, we didn't have the means to do what has been done, for instance, in Suriname. They have calculated the reparations costs. In the Caribbean now, the CARICOM ministers are with the CARICOM Committee for Reparations, calculating the cost that they have to claim from the European former colonizer countries. So we also can do that. But
And
which government
you believe
here
in
is-
that?
Yes, I believe in it. It is my right. Because it's a right, it's not a matter any longer for me to believe it. It's a matter to claim it. We had here the Prime Minister Marcel Gibbes that was at a speech that Prime Minister Gonçalves from here in the Caribbean came to bring. That was one of the forefighters for reparations. He spoke at that event. I hoped that Prime Minister Gibbes would have taken because the man knows what he's talking about, that he would have taken it and that he would have brought it to all. This was the Prime Minister that told everybody that you had to study, you had to study, you had to study. Well, study it and now report and claim what is our right. That is where we should be, that is where we should come. If you want us to give government advice, we gave so many advice already. We only speak about our rights in the kingdom.
But isn't it a different right when you speak about reparations for slavery and human rights in terms of you being a part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands and the services that are rendered in the kingdom should be across the board for every island?
Slavery and stopping slavery, all forms of slavery, and all the consequences of slavery is a human right. That you address that is a human right. So it is a whole package of human rights that we have to get implemented. Now, the Dutch has been very selective in what they implement. If they want euthanasia to come across, or abortus to come across, they push it and they tell you have to go for it. But for equality to come across, they don't push it. And that is where we have to demand our rights.
So what if you get some experts together and say, to the Dutch government, you owe us, Sir Martin, approximately 20 billion euros for what you did in the past. Now, I don't believe in it. I personally don't believe in this reparation thing. I think it's gone. It wasn't good what happened. But the problem is a lot of people believe in it, yourself and others. So say 20 billion euros. Give it to every man, woman, and child.
Again, I tell you, it's not a matter of belief. It's a matter of your right. And if you know your right, you go for it. Why do you leave your right? Pick up your right, claim your right. That's what we are saying. And if you don't know your right, get educated, look for it. That's what we have to do. We try to give our support to anyone that wants to know it. We explain it very easy. We can explain it very documented. That's our part to help educate and inform. But once you get informed and educated, then you have to do something about it. Now, find here a lawyer that wants to support your international public claim. When you see what they want to pick up, they will refuse this because we have experienced already that none is there to help us with this.
No lawyer is willing to?
None is there to help us because all is constitutionally or criminal lawyers that we have here. We don't have international public law specialists. That is what we need. Because they start to tell you that in the Kingdom of the Netherlands, this is how it is. It's exactly this law that has been dictated for us that we have to force you it in. That's wherein you have to function. No, we want to function in the international public law. And when we explain that that is the higher law, that the state of the Kingdom of the Netherlands has signed for, has ratified, and as such, it should be implemented, you will see that a lot of them, I don't know why, but they don't come up and say, we are going for that, because that will give for this whole society an improvement. That will give for this whole society a lot of more income that will help this economy.
You know, Mr. Jessurun, I admire your courage, and sometimes I don't know how you get the energy to continue, but believe me, it's a real uphill battle. Let me take a call for you. Oral Gibbes Live, you on caller? Hello? You on live caller?
Good evening. Good evening
Good evening, sir.
to you and Mr. Jessurun. we have been fighting its dignity and integrity. We sometimes have had promises made in the direction of change definitely will take place. I want you to listen to this. It is sometimes said things have changed and will change. However, greater than change is survival. Think about it.
Thank you, caller. I think that you're right. We should have a standard of living here that is equal to that one of the Dutch. Why? Because the Human Development Index of the Netherlands is among the first 5 of the world. And so if that is what for 16 million people is being realized already, then for the 400,000 that we have here in the Dutch Caribbean, it's chicken feed to give them the same right. So according to me, the survival mode that we have to live in, skeleton budgets for government so that they can do nothing for the people, it should stop. We should get the same budget support as other parts of the Kingdom of the Netherlands have, and especially the ones in the Netherlands. When there is a problem in a province, the Kingdom of the Netherlands or the state is providing support. The same has to be demanded here.
Oral Gibbs Live, you're on caller. Hello?
Yes, hello, good evening. I want to commend Jessurun because the fact of reparation is not something that we're not true to. It's very simple. Those companies like the West Indies Maatschappij, their monies is still sitting in what we call affiliated bank Wachovia. And it's very simple that that same bank has a lineage here in St. Martin. So that money is not impossible to find. We have to establish what is the final total based on those who were involved, those families who were subjected to such. Trace that book of Mr. Carl Voges, where he spoke of the Cossack people. That already established the lineage of those families, and therefore it is easy to identify and create a financial budget that we can have numbers and figures. Simple as that. Jessurun, keep it up, my brother. You know the work that you've been doing out there. Our work.
Thank you, caller. I think that I have to commend the foundation that we have here on the island that has brought the last year 2-3 persons that at the international level at the UN have been advocating for the rights of the Afro descendants and for the rights of the people that were in a colonial situation and in the decolonization process did not get their rights. Now, because this is a human rights issue, it is not any longer a matter of it is not for me. It is for us all, because we all in the same ship. And the fact that we have doubts, that's because the colonial system of education did not want us to know that this is our right. While we as advocates are bringing up this right because we studied it, we went into it, we dig into it, and we get international support to promote it. And we say, all we have to do is pick up your right. There is no person that knows everything that is in the law. For that, they go to a lawyer. Well, human rights defenders are like lawyers. They defend your rights that is already codified in international public law. And by speaking about that, that's why once people know that they have it, it will be materialized. When I came in a bus just the other day, the first thing that a person in the bus said, this is the gentleman that is fighting for our equal rights in the kingdom. He knows it. They support it. They want it. They want to see that we really achieve it. Now, how to achieve it? There is where we expect that our politicians, that they take the lead. Our politicians, our representatives, they have to take the lead. It has been the lead from politicians in other countries to fight for independence, fight for equal rights.
But why do you think they don't want to take the lead?
I think that we just have to get them to understand that what the people want, you have to translate it like this, 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 and this. What the people want, they want a better situation, you have to translate it in give them their rights. Now, how to give them their rights in the Kingdom of the Netherlands? Claiming their rights at the kingdom level. The kingdom government must provide the rights. And if they don't want to do it, St. Martin claiming that they are becoming a constituent state. They are in the development to become a state. You have the United Nations to help you. We have right now United Nations volunteers that is helping for a national development plan. Now, you can ask the United Nations to back you up to address your reparations. You can address the United Nations to back you up for you to get equal rights in the state, the Kingdom of the Netherlands. To give you even the legal support. They can provide those experts to you.
Mr. Jessurun, what do you think about the idea that you get one of those KLM 747 and just fill it up with all local seniors, fly to the Netherlands and go to the capital and do a sit-in for a week?
Not for a week. We already said, fly us all. Fly us all to the Binnenhof in Den Haag. We will sit there and they will provide houses. You saw all the other people that were fleeing their countries recently. They get all kind of support. So we can get support too. Once we are being flown to there, who wants to pay the ticket because not even that money we have? Fly us there and we get our right. But then still, because of the system, how it was, we will not get our complete right. And that's
discrimination now.
And that's where reparation come in. That is for you to understand that next to what you can get now, because this is your right now, there is this whole gap that they take from you, that they took away from you, that they withhold from you, and you have still the right for that.
And you know, and then what you get other people saying, look, but I am not responsible for what my great-great-grandfather and grandmother did. You know, punishing a teenager in the Netherlands, a middle-aged person in the Netherlands. You're punishing all the people in the Netherlands and holding them responsible for something that they didn't have a hand in.
It is not a matter of they are not responsible. Solidarity is a principle, is a human principle. You have to love your neighbor as yourself. You can't love your neighbor selfishly, only for me and nothing for you. So that is the principle. In the Kingdom of the Netherlands, even the Dutch have to put their money where the mouth is. If you are withholding money from here, you have to put the money there. They are coming with all kinds of things saying that they have put so much money here. But it was Mr. Cruz that recently came out with a publication. You can buy it here at Van Dorp, where he is telling us that we have been sending more money to the Netherlands than that the Netherlands ever have been returning here with the aid. So if our own is telling us who owes who, it's Holland has to pay. Holland owes us. When we see what Suriname did, they calculated the reparation that the Netherlands have to pay. It's now all of a sudden it's not the Kingdom of the Netherlands because we from this part of the kingdom don't have to pay that, but the Holland has to pay, and they have calculated it. Now this is where the United Nations is the instrument for you to address it, and right now we are in a decade to establish the rights of the Afro-descendants. Most of the people in this part of the kingdom is Afro-descendant. And those Afro-descendants, that is one of the groups in our societies that has been kept back the most.
Do you have a lot of confidence in the United Nations?
Yes,
That's very good.
because what happened the last 60-something years is that these international legislations have been bringing more rights to the people. Obama could not have become president of the United States if it was not for the civil and political rights.
I mean the United Nations.
Yes.
Look, this is a very specific question I ask. Do you have a lot of confidence? Because
The United Nations is all the governments of the world.
It's an instrument of Holland too. Do you know that?
We know that the Dutch play a role in it.
And so
But
you talk
as
with
human
United
rights
Nations,
champions,
you're not going to get nothing done in the United Nations.
let me put it this way. If human rights champions tell you that you have a right, why should I shut up my mouth? Bring my right. Put your money where your mouth is. They is saying us that we have a right. They have helped to codify our rights.
The only politician in this part of the kingdom that know how to scare the Dutch government is my good friend over there in Sabre, Will Johnson. When he's pissed off with them, he goes straight to United Nations. They don't want to see him there. All our other politicians here don't even know how to play the game.
Okay, let me put it this way. Now the politicians must start to understand that they have to know their right. It's either two things.
You can know your right and still afraid to use your right.
Oh, well, that's why. It's either two things. Are they ignorant? Are they malicious? It's either you don't know that we have a right. But if you don't know and you hear so many people that have studied it, that they know about it, elsewhere in the world you see about it, and you don't dig in it, you choose for ignorance, then we have to change the person that has to represent us.
Mr. Jessurun, we had recently debate in Parliament on the budget, and there was an arrest of a parliamentarian in St. Martin the day just before they knew the budget was going to be passed. Don't tell me. Maybe I'm stupid or I'm malicious with what I'm going to say now. Don't you think it looks like the Dutch was involved? The same Dutch government who is saying, gentlemen, we want transparency, we want good governance, we want a balanced budget. They stopped the process one day before, and then they said they wasn't aware of anything. And all our politicians, from the prime minister down, were acting like schoolboys in short pants.
Well, the proof will set us free.
I know. I just wonder. Did you see what happened? You was here, right?
What happened? No, I was not here. But I still know what happened.
Do you think that was the right way for our political leadership to act, to accept it in that fashion?
I agree with you that the way that they're treating sometimes our politicians if they did something wrong is not the way that they're treating a Dutchman that is a politician that did something wrong.
What I'm trying to say, our politicians are weak. They themselves are weak. So you can't get weak people to fight for you when they themselves are weak and don't understand their power.
If they're being accused of doing something wrong, they have a right to be protected by the state. The way the state is implementing the laws on this side, it's like they treat Dutch politicians different. Go and see all the corruption cases in the Netherlands, how they dealt with those burgemeesters, how they dealt with those people. They're treating them different than they're treating our politicians. So that gives you already part of the insight and also the impression that we are not equal in the kingdom.
We never were equal.
Now, my point is this. We ought to be equal, we have to fight to be equal, and we have to address this inequality. So I agree with you that if you see that how they treat the politician here is not good, it is not equal as how they're treating them there, I fully agree with you and I support that too. We have to get an equal treatment here. One of the persons on Facebook told me that she was of the opinion that our politicians had to be dealt with more stringently. I told her they have to be dealt with the same way they deal with them in the Netherlands. If you're wrong, you're wrong. But the treatment that you have to get to establish your wrongdoing should be the same. Now, that probably will deviate from what is happening with the seniors. The treatment.
But tie in.
No, why I bring it back is that the seniors, how they are being treated here, is not as the way it's the same way as they are being treated in the Netherlands.
Exactly. So they're connected in a way.
So that's why I bring it up. Just as the politicians stood up and said that this was not right, they had this impression. So they should stood up for the pensions, the social pensions, the poverty pensions. That's what we expect from them to do. And we have asked them. We went to parliament, we went to government, and we think that there must be continuity in government. We went even to the kingdom government, and they did not respect our rights. So that is where we started now to address them internationally. And now that we have the independent expert on the rights of older persons, we have good company. Because this lady that has been elected 2 years ago by the Human Rights Council to address and report about the full implementation and the full realization of the rights of older persons, based on our reports, she can inform the Human Rights Council of what the Kingdom of the Netherlands is doing. And so they can better get their act together, because the international reporting is something that is harassing. It's embarrassing. So for them not to be embarrassed, they can better provide us with what is right.
But don't you think, Mr. Jessurun, then the time is right, if I listen to you, that you should get together with the authorities and present the Dutch government, not the kingdom government, because I think we make the Dutch government the invoice?
Okay, I still say the kingdom government, because if you go to the Dutch government, he will tell you, you are not in this part with the Dutch government. Then you have to be with your own government. But the kingdom government is above all. And that's why it's the kingdom government, as the Charter of the Kingdom says, that has to guarantee my rights, that has to guarantee that the good governance is there. This is not good governance what the kingdom government is doing. They talk about good governance from the Simaten government, that apparently that is not what they're doing. But the good governance of the kingdom government, by applying apartheid in the kingdom...
But the kingdom government did not exist during slavery, Mr. Jessurun.
Well,
I'm not a lawyer.
The idea is this, that when you look into how the state of the Netherlands has developed and evolved, they built themselves based on what they had provided from the colonies. And at the end of the day, when we talk about what is our right, I'm not going to argue and go into all of these things that people say. I go into what is my right. It is codified. And based on that, I claim my right.
Every day the kingdom violates its charter when it comes to these islands.
Agree.
Every day.
I agree.
We are not equal partners.
From the day that they instituted the Charter of the Kingdom, and let me put it clearer for everybody to understand. From the day they signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, they were pretending that we were all equal, but they did not implement it. And when they ratified the International Covenant for Civil and Political Rights and the International Covenant for Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights in 1979, since then, we had to be treated equal, and you see it now in the reports of the United Nations Committee of Social and Economic Cultural Affairs, where they tell the kingdom that they have to make it right. So if this is the situation, if this is our right, by knowing your right, you have to stand up for your right. And our politicians, and especially our parliamentarians that represent us, they must look into that and defend our rights, claim our rights.
So just when I have to go to a break, but I gotta say, boy, I don't want to say the kingdom, I gotta say the Dutch government, they're getting tired of hearing you. They wish you would just shut up, right?
Well, I think that the Dutch government knows exactly what we say, and that what we say is right. And they're just waiting for the rest of the people to stand up and fight.
I don't know. I would like to see the day come when our senior citizens can live and have the quality of life like I see seniors in Holland.
We are fully aware of that. This is actually our dream. And as Martin Luther King said, I had a dream. He had a dream. And he stood up. And he organized. And that's what we do. We think and believe that apart from we standing up, solidarity from the Dutch people is also important. Because they also Dutch in the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And so they also have to understand that the Kingdom government should stop to discriminate the Dutch on this side. So by looking at that, and knowing that even Dutch people that come to this side and experience these discrimination and these differences, that they also understand that we have in solidarity do this fight.
You know, it's strange because, you know, when you look at Holland, it's such a progressive country, but still when you look at how it deals with the members in this kingdom that they created, it's not progressive at all.
Yes, look at Statia. It is the Statia government that said the way that we are being treated is not right, and they went to the independent committee, the Independence Committee of the United Nations, the Decolonization Committee, to address this wrongdoing. And this is what we say. When you have to get support, look for your support to make your case. And when we was discussing a little before, who in this society is willing to support the Seniors Association with legal means? Who is willing to support us to get our rights? That is what solidarity is all about.
But you know, Mr. Jessurun, most law firms here work for the government too.
That's why I say they can help the government now to claim their right. It is just a matter of prepare and help them. Just as we are assisting and helping, they can do it too. But as I told you, if they are not specialized in international public law, it's better that they don't do nothing because they give wrong advice. This is very serious what I'm telling you.
I know.
International public law is something that you have to study for and that you have to live it. Most of our people that we have here in the judicial system is for criminal law or is for constitutionally established civil rights law. Civil movement law, civil law. So what we see is that actually these are not the right people to defend us. They defend us within the legal system that the kingdom has established. For international public law to be respected, you need international lawyers to assist you and to help you. You know that even the Royal Shell Company, for them to fight when Don Martina in Curacao came with his tank ballasting to get some more monies, they had international public law lawyers and all kinds of constitutional lawyers that they put to work. Because when you have a right, you should be careful how you address that right.
I'll be out of time. I'm sorry, only 15 minutes remaining. Anything else you want to add quickly?
15 seconds.
15 seconds, sorry.
Thank you for listening, and we won't give up the fight.
Well, it's all about Molly there. I really appreciate you coming, and I admire your courage and dedication.
You're welcome.
And that's it for now. See you next time. Till then, good night. Take care. Bye.